Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to what is the last midnight review for the Marvel side of 2022. Scary to say, but that is the case. We are here for the finale of She-Hulk. I'm the Protector, Trask Snail, and I'm joined by...
I am Hulk King Kirklin Patzer.
Something's going on with your voice there. You gotta.
He's changing right now.
Demons are coming. It's past midnight.
I am the Leapfrog Dylan Musk. I did not update my nickname, so there you go from last week.
I'm the deep haiku Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are here for She-Hulk. This is the finale. This is the last Disney Plus show. We got the, Christmas special coming up for Guardians, but it's the last show of the year. Pretty big one. Taylor Field, where can they find all that good jazz?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us at your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Everything you need to know is down below. Our video, our audio, our Discord, our Manscaped. You use that podcast code and get 20% off and free shipping with GVPOD. You head over to Patreon and get episodes ad-free, exclusive, and early. And most importantly, go over to the link. That's the very first link in every video and audio. It is our extra live stream, which is going to be happening November 5th. Starts 9 a.m. It's 24 hours. We have a plethora of events. We got 7 events, and that's just going to be also filled with just shenanigans throughout the whole time. If you've never tuned in, it's always fun. Again, doesn't matter what time, PST, EST, you UK folk, come on. We're there the whole day. We're there for literally a day. So we'll be there at some point, and all your donations will be tax deductible. And if you can't donate, just share the links on the day. We're trying to raise $3,500 towards BC Children's Hospital. We very much appreciate any support and sharing we may get in the future. So that's a big thing. Taylor Field, what did you think of this finale in a non-spoilers thought?
To be honest, not so great. I went in kind of again hoping, this isn't a spoiler, I was hoping it'd be a little bit longer, and I was telling Dylan this before we went live here. I was hoping it might be in a few extra minutes. I thought it might be a little bit longer, just because of what we had to unravel with the setup and the plot from the previous episode and just what things were kind of steering towards. But I enjoyed elements and certain things that they tackled, but in the end, I feel like it was kind of lackluster, which is unfortunate because I really liked where we've gotten everything. And I think that this episode took a huge chunk of time that could have been used for the story, but they spun it in a way that I guess it makes sense for the character and makes sense for the overall aesthetic of the show. But they just went with this whole comedic approach. And while I did find a specific component of that comedic approach humorous, I found like it definitely sabotaged the show in its timing, and it just overall the amount of time it had to properly wrap up this at 8-episode build up to this point. So I feel like it was just kind of unfortunate and way too rushed. So it's sad for me to kind of say that, because I've really enjoyed the shows up to this point, and yeah, it stings, doesn't it? So
all right, Toby. Dylan Musk, what do you think? Did you have the same experience as Taylor Field?
I totally understand where you're coming from, Taylor, but I 100% disagree. This 100% worked for me. Every single second of this worked for me. I'm so happy with this finale. It's hard not to talk too much about without spoiling things, and I really want people to watch this without getting those spoiler thoughts on it. But man, they just, I can't even go there. I'm just gonna say I loved it. It was fantastic. I loved everything about it. And this might be my favorite Disney. I think this is my favorite Disney Plus finale at this point of the Marvel shows. And I'm excited to rank this thing when we get down to that in a couple months, because I think this is going to be pretty high for me. I very, very much enjoyed just this show now that we're at the end of it. And yeah, what a great ending. Amazing.
Kirklin Patzer, we've heard one side of the coin, we've heard another side of the coin. Are you somewhere in the middle? Are you heads or tails?
I think I am somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
So it's one of those edges, the sharp edges of the coin. But I feel like overall, I thought this was definitely a solid finale. And when you're comparing it to some of the other finales that we've had in the past, definitely the most original finale, and something that I was not expecting by any means. So huge props to them for that. And yeah, a lot of stuff I'm excited to talk about. when we get to spoilers. But overall, I definitely, I understand where Taylor's coming from. I feel like I do have some cons with just like the choice of doing it because of just missing out on some other things. But again, we'll get there. But yeah, all in all, I think this was a pretty solid pretty highly rated finale, actually, when I think about some of the other Disney Plus shows. So
Yeah.
yeah, so definitely a big thumbs up there, and overall just great first season of She-Hulk. I'm glad I really like the show turned it around. What am I trying to say here? It turned
Edge of the
me.
coin.
There you go. Yeah, because in the first 2 episodes, I really wasn't vibing with it, but as we went on week by week, I definitely grew to love the show. So, yeah, it's great to be here because I've completely passed out last week. So there you go.
Yeah, you
Love
don't
having
pass up
Daredevil
this
on the
one.
show. He's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what exactly to say because I'm somebody that you look at the finales. We've had some weak ones, but for me, it was always Loki was the tippy top of them all. I think this is a complete 180 for that, but I will say it's either tied or it is the best finale we've gotten. I thought they just went for it. They did things that I didn't think they would do for a while, and they wouldn't do for maybe only specific people. Like, well, we're gonna work with this star and we'll let them have some fun. But this was really clever, very unique. This is the only show as of right now you could do it in, and it would make sense and feel natural. And it just felt like the same when I was watching the Batman. And I'm sure many people are gonna have this. This just felt like my brain was on the TV of like things I've complained about the finales or talked about or cited. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Like, we're not doing that. This is, we got a whole different route for you. We're not falling into those Disney Plus finale traps because they have been traps. It has been, whether you've liked or disliked the season, it feels like for majority, and that's why usually Loki's the one that everyone goes, oh, except Loki. All the finales are like, oh, that was lackluster. And each season kind of almost feels worse than it started. Like even something like Moon Knight to me, it's like, and Hawkeye. I remember the first 3 episodes. I loved Hawkeye because those last 2 episodes, I look back at Hawkeye, I think it's so low, but really there was some great stuff in there. But it's that ending, right? And this to me did the reverse, and now this shot up to me a bunch of rankings. I'm not sure where it is, but I thought I had it like nestled safely under my tree at like a specific spot. But I thought this was a home run, and I thought I just they surprised me in the best ways possible. That's the best way I guess I can say it, and I'm very happy they did this, and I'm excited to break this down. So anything else we want to shout out before we get into it? Okay, so now obviously you might be someone going, oh, should I watch She-Hulk, whatnot? Definitely watch this episode. Even if you've not seen the whole show, I think you could watch this episode and enjoy it and then come back because we're gonna get take the gloves off.
Well, watch episode 8 and then 9. I mean,
yeah. Eight's great because Daredevil, but yeah, there's lots of fun stuff in here. So we're gonna take our first ad break and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So just to set, again, last warning. So to set all up, what happens is we're getting this finale of a very just kind of, all right, regular finale. Last week she got arrested. We're dealing with the ramifications of that. She can no longer be She-Hulk. Puggy and whatever Nikki are investigating intelligentsia. You get your Todd reveal, which actually in the moment I was like, oh, I like this because it makes sense. It was not some fucking the lead or some big secret whatever film. But as it was going along, what happens is characters start to plummet from the roof. Hulk comes in, Titania comes in, Abomination and Hulk are fighting. All the stuff's going on, and all of a sudden Jennifer's talking to the camera like, it can't go down like this. This is very messy and everything like that. And they literally, when you talk about break fourth wall, they break fourth wall. The menu drops to the Disney Plus streaming menu. She's in her She-Hulk thumbnail. She kicks at it, goes down to the Marvel. Oh, what the hell are they called again? The Assembled. Yeah, the Assembled. And she makes her way to the office. So I want to start with you because you said you had a bit more negative experience with this. So this was at the moment, like when this was all going, were you digging the finale that was the whole actual fighting?
When it went to the main page, like, fuck, refresh, what's going on?
Like you're digging Todd as the Hulk, like all that, like that was your finale?
Wanted Hulk versus Abomination, I bet.
He
That's
did,
what he was,
yeah.
I was worried when I saw Abomination there because I thought, like, I didn't want him to go back down the path of being bad, and I thought this is odd because he's in this convention for like anti-She-Hulk kind of thing. I thought, oh
yes.
God, like I thought that would have been unfortunate if he went down that path. But I'm glad that didn't happen. When everything started popping off, all these characters coming in, I thought, okay, yeah, it's getting messy for sure. This is really wild. But again, I thought like, okay, yeah, Bruce Banner's in here, sure. It's like Titania, like, okay, yeah, like cliche and all that jazz. But you mentioned it, just how they kind of like broke the fourth wall, everything with how they did this ending and stuff, and just broke away from that general narrative that we're so used to with these finales. And while it is good and it is definitely original, I guess I thought that it threw me off because them doing this fourth wall breaking just to kind of like just like throw shade on the cliche endings that these shows usually have as a way of ending this show didn't satisfy me. I wanted like after that happened, they rewrote everything. It just skipped to a family picnic with, you know, Charlie Cox, and then like just throwing in another thing. And I feel like that was just too rushed for me. I would have liked that even just prolong a little bit. The lines were just like quickly accelerated, and everything was just coming off, and it was just
Do you feel
too
like
quick.
she did not have her like final story point or something?
I feel like she didn't have like a good wrap up kind of conclusion, because I feel like even after everything that happened in the episode 8 with her facing jail time, with her dealing with the actual rage and just never before really being in a situation to control her anger like that, that was all shafted in this episode. And I wish that we would have got that kind of deep dive on how herself as a character is handling that, and actually like coming to realization, like we got a fraction of that where her lawyers showed up and said, yeah, you got angry and out of control with people there, and we see her facial reaction to that, and that's it. But I wanted to really get a little bit more of that development, but it was just shafted. And so I think that's what kind of ruins it for me, when they just started just jumping around and doing all these other things. So that's the unfortunate part for me, and in the sense of just concluding her story, and maybe they'll tackle it later on, but I feel like maybe they won't at this point.
See, I mean, I feel like there's kind of two sides to what they've been building up with her, which is one is, obviously like Bruce and Hulk. That is a very different dynamic of trying to find a balance between herself and the other guy, whatever he calls it. But with this is very different, where she's like learning to, even though she has control of it, like learning to accept both sides of herself and finding a balance where she can live her life in a way that works. And like she finally found that in the end. So I feel like that part of it worked. And then for me, just that it was done from the fourth wall of, changing the plot to make it so that she was the one who saved the day, was her story. To me, that was like that conclusive moment, because we had seen throughout the show, she's always getting screwed over by one thing or another. And so that she like had the wits, and yeah, it's different than another thing because it's all this whole fourth wall sequence. But to me, that was like a very satisfying resolution for her character, that she did save the day. She didn't do it by hulking out and punching a bunch of people and taking them out, but she did it in her own Jennifer Walters way that no other character can do it that way. And it, kind of lawyery too, in the way she's kind of coming up with these deals and, figuring all that out, that stuff. And then she got to have some fun with it too by throwing Daredevil in there and all that stuff. So to me, that resolution of the character and like tying it with like her finding the connection between her two selves, like that completely worked for me.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say because I think Dylan said pretty much what I was gonna. That's where I like when she says like, why does the finale have to be a big Hulk fight and everything like that? And I think I agree to like you could have a bit more of, okay, she did lose it last episode, but I guess they're just more portraying she just lost in a way like she just got like a regular human angry, but she's in Hulk form, right? She's not like the Hulk where she has to worry that she's getting savage and she's gonna rip everything apart. They did this great, like that's what I thought the most fourth wall breaking was going to be, because I heard this was going to be a crazy finale, but I didn't think for these type of reasons. When they did the very like old school, I'm not sure if any of you have seen the old school Hulk show, but that's what they are ripping off and everything like that. So yeah, but I think that's almost them making a joke of it, was like, yeah, it's not that she's savage, it's just like she had a moment with any of us could like lose her temper for a second, but because like her lawyer, that's right, counter to her, she even says like, I just lost my temper like everyone else, but she goes, yeah, but you're a Hulk. So that's to me kind of say, way it's almost too like, how come even though Bruce is like, he's reflected, he's done all these things, how come he does not have like some sort of thing on him where he can't turn to Hulk anymore? Like, why is that like all the damage he's done? And I thought they're kind of portraying the whole like, well, men can do a bunch of things and women do it once, and already they like slap a shackle on her. It's like, no more. And even that's funny. We jump back to the beginning of the season when she didn't want to be Jen, or didn't want to be She-Hulk, and he's like, I can't make you that device. But this
Yeah.
government is just whipping out these
He was holding
devices.
out.
Yeah, it makes no sense in that aspect. But I think for me that they answered most of those questions enough that I felt satisfied. And I did also like the conclusion because it was funny seeing Todd as like big Hulk and everything. But it's like, I don't need this, especially when on purpose they're making it messy. I like that it was she through the law they just figured out that Todd was the guy, and they ruined his life, and he's in prison and good to go.
And it's not like Intelligentsia was some mastermind organization. It was just a bunch of incels screwing around in a fucking cabin, right? So I think for that to just be kind of an anti-ending in a way where it just like kind of had a deflated ending, I think is like totally perfect for what is just this group of shitty dudes who did absolutely nothing of value in their whole time as an organization.
And that's why I like it more than the surprise reveal villain at the end, like a Kingpin or even Power Broker, where they are there throughout the whole time. But these guys really felt like they were a thorn in their side since the Wrecking Crew attacked her, and that's where it's like, okay, this villain, and Todd's been there the whole time. It's not Kingpin, it's not someone like that where it's like, oh Agatha shit, there's it's Justin it's not Agatha. It's like, no, this guy already was a sussy. Like, I don't think we thought he was the leader, but I thought, he's definitely part of this group. So to me, like, even the real world non-fourth wall breaking stuff just made sense of, Todd's the leader of this thing. And they're just shitty guys, so you can still be dangerous and ruin your life though, as far as doxing you and leaking all this stuff. So that'll work for me too.
Yeah, and then like that reason of having like the villain that makes sense for the show, I totally was buying into just the chaotic like ending, and like I was not loving it, and everything that she was calling out was kind of what I was like thinking, where I was like, this is just so chaotic, like I can't follow what's going on right now. And when it just did that switch, it was like, oh, okay, like I it's like a party magician was like toying me in, and he just totally got me. Like I was totally just fooled, and so pleasantly so, because
Donnie Blaze.
Donnie Blaze, yeah. It was just such a fresh, like, again, like just switch for what a finale was, and it just got like better and better up until like the whole Kevin thing, and it was fantastic from that point on. And then like just touching upon like her character development for like She-Hulk and like balancing that. I feel like within the last few episodes, I've kind of like, I feel like I've witnessed her accomplishment of that, of like balancing it like decently. So like I know she does definitely still have like some problems of just balancing like her professional life with She-Hulk and her love life and all that stuff. But for the most part, I feel like she's just so much stronger in like more ways than one from where she was earlier on in the show. So yeah, it all worked for me for the finale and like rounding out what she like the journey that she was going throughout the whole season.
And I'm glad Superman might throw all this out because this is my notes. They did kind of brush over how she got to be the She-Hulk again, because that was the agreement right after the freak out. But then at the end of this show, she is walking into court as She-Hulk.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would just be one
that
throwaway line.
That guy said that they like canceled any punishment that she had.
I guess, but it's like, it's weird because I feel like they would look at that and they'd still know, she did, like, these intelligentsia guys are assholes, but she still broke the dam.
But that's
the
fourth wall
right?
breaking thing, right? Because like she rewrote that, and that's another con that I
Deadpool
have.
2.
Like she rewrote it, and I feel like
Deadpool 2'd it.
Yeah, she Deadpool 2'd it. Like I feel like, God, that's a dangerous tool. Because what if they just like break the fourth wall with other projects, like Iron Man doesn't die,
you're gonna get that with Deadpool. But no, I think it's very secluded to this situation. I think it's the same thing as comic books. Like, I don't think in fucking Kang Dynasty, when they're fighting Kang, all of a sudden Jennifer Walters is gonna pop up. And like, even though I very much want a scene of Jennifer Walters and Deadpool both breaking the fourth wall together, talking to the viewers like in the middle. But I think you gotta choose where to use, and I think this show is gonna be where to do it, and that's where transitioning. Okay, so she's on the lot, and she breaks in the writer's room, and I've written down some, but there is just line after line after line, which is just stellar stuff that's been complained by the internet, but I mean, just us talking about these shows of like huge complaints, like, why is this gonna happen? Why are you doing it like this? And then eventually she breaks out of that writer's room, and they're like, oh, you want to speak to Kevin? And my nickname I love, there's this one guy being like, I would murder to protect Kevin, and she's like, what you're saying is really unhealthy right now. I don't know why you're talking about this guy like that, but it's like we memed that way about Kevin Feige, like they're hitting all the juices. But so she goes up to Marvel headquarters, and she goes in the office, and she's pressing the button. Security's trying to stop her. She gets in the room, and it's a very Matrix Reloaded sort of, the architect, where this is the big reveal that Kevin Feige is not just a man. He is I guess kind of a, like, he's not the AI,
Super
but
brain,
yeah, yeah.
supercomputer.
How that's what's under that cap now. Now we know what's under the cap is the Kevin
True.
AI machine. But yeah, it is an AI machine that is, I guess, working this all and then gives it to Kevin Feige and such. But after this, like I said, we just get line after line. She's asking about the X-Men. She's saying like, "Oh, you should put Daredevil in there for some woman needs." And then the computer's like, "Yeah, we often disappoint on that." Like, there's all like, not even just from the show, it's just like everything about the MCU, and just, hey, yeah, exactly. When's the X-Men? That was a great line. Like, oh, can you transform? Why? Well, we don't have the budget for it, and do it off screen. Why? Well, the effects team's already working on the next project. They play fucking Wakanda music when they said, like, it was just like a comedian on stage killing it. I don't care. And yeah, it's like them poking fun of themselves and something easy, but it's like they don't have to do that. Like, even just my last line before you guys, it's just, well, how do you know what's good? And he's like, well, we make all these projects, they're near perfect. Some are better than others, but I let the internet decide that. And it's just, they just, like, I felt like even Feige was like, he's in on the situation. Like when we talk about how The Rock sometimes doesn't feel like he gets the joke, this show felt like they get the joke, and we're having some fun. So just 11 out of 10, one of the best sequences in the MCU ever. I loved everything with Kevin and She-Hulk.
I completely agree.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Part of me, it's funny. He was shouting out like he was MODOK. Part of me was like, oh, they're gonna do like some weird MODOK thing where he's gonna just look very different than what I'd be expecting. I wasn't expecting like the Portal, the what's her name, Gladys, the villain from Portal. That's basically what Kevin was here. And but again, it was like, okay, they don't actually have him in the MCU. I was very just curious if they were gonna do that. But like all the jokes around it and like leading up to, I mean, Travis, you covered pretty much all the ones that I had at the top of my head. Just, I did love that line though when he's like, I would murder, and he's like dead serious too. Yes. I would murder to protect Kevin. And it's like, sometimes I feel like that, when like when I left for Infinity War. Yeah, exactly. Endgame. Just like that son of a bitch did it. So I loved it. And again, just embracing the meme. It's like that one E3 when Bethesda was just like memeing on Skyrim and all the different versions. Like it worked so well. And to like not really have too much of that throughout the season. I know we were breaking the fourth wall, but it's just kind of like to comment on what's been going on or the story or something. So she shattered the fourth wall here. And it was so fun. Every little thing. Yeah. There's so many lines. It's going to be such a fun like episode to rewatch, to just really catch on to all those things that I might have missed on the first watch.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. See how Chaos said this was totally a Deadpool thing. Yeah, they got to beat them to a lot of material too. Yeah. And that's where I think Deadpool might do a lot more X-Men, Wolverine stuff, like the Legacy, because this is like, you feel like this would have been Deadpool all day, but no, they let Jennifer Walters, which is great, because it's like, yeah, we're not going to just let Deadpool have all these great shots,
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand too where some people might not be into it, because as you mentioned, Kirkland, like the fourth wall stuff was used pretty sparingly. You'd get maybe like a joke or two per episode, but it was usually just like to skate you along to like the next scene, or just to have an in joke or something like that. But yeah, to go like fully into it and actually make it part of the plot, I understand that's quite a departure. But since every single line landed for me, that's where I just like, yeah, I can't really throw any criticism at it. That whole sequence is so much fun. And I know right after I finished, I'm like, man, I do not feel like I can review this right now. Like, I feel like I need to watch this multiple times before I feel like I have a full understanding of everything that I just watched. Which is a great thing to have. Like, wow, that was a half an hour, and it was fucking every second was jammed with something fun in there.
Before I get your thoughts here, I want to shut some things in chat before I get so far. Let's see how Chaos says, I still have no clue why Titania was there or why she has powers. I think Titania was there at the end just because she's the social media influencer. So I think she was just there to, like, if you're looking for obviously the fight, that was not real. They rewrote it for real life. I think it's just, she was just trying to get some likes, and like that's what she does, right? She's looking for things. And then this was obviously a big thing from Eddie when Kevin asked something about Bruce, and that's where it's like, which was so funny, because she's like, oh, are we gonna do the reveal thing? We got the reveal at the end, but there was rumors that they had cut Hulk's reveal, which was funny. But she's like, oh, we'll save that for the movie. Was she referring to World War Hulk? I think so. And the other thing she also talked about, like, are we going to do this here or in season 2? I think they both draw, like, the movie thing. You could easily just say, oh, that could be Avengers, King Dynasty, whatever. But I think this is them slowly, like, sprinkling the seeds. And I think they also did that with season 2, because I feel like they mentioned that at least twice about season 2. And now I feel like you're, even for the general audience, you're putting it in their head, hey, there's gonna be more of this. We didn't get the classic Loki end credit She-Hulk season 2 coming,
I
but
was gonna ask about that.
yeah, I think it is. I think it's gonna happen. She-Hulk 2. I really do. So,
Yeah.
Taylor. So I know you weren't a fan of some of the fourth wall breaking, but I feel like you had to at least appreciate the Kevin scene and have some joy here.
I mean,
God!
As far as the fourth wall breaking goes, like I did enjoy and got an absolute like laugh out of a lot of that. I think like in retrospect now, I think I just would have wanted it to be. I think I needed an extra episode. I think I needed this to be 10 episodes and just like give us more like of the her looking intelligentsia stuff like in episode 9, and then put this as the fair chunk of it in like the finale in episode 10, where I can really just laugh at it and enjoy it, because then I have kind of wrapped up a little bit more of Jennifer Walters.
What more do you want
story.
from an intelligentsia? Like, what do you feel like you didn't?
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Because like just like Dylan said, they're just the incel guys, so that's just
They
just
are,
don't think
but
there's anything interesting to dive too.
I'm
deep
just
into,
curious,
you
like,
know?
like who were the guys in this top secret facility, like working on the blood? Like who? I feel like I feel like it kind of just got shafted for just being Todd.
He's just like some rich guy, right? So they
Yeah,
just paid
they
some
set that up.
scientists to like.
Yeah, remember his dad's a big
crunch some
client.
numbers.
Yeah,
that's
true. His dad's the leader.
Because I thought we were gonna see that guy that went on a date. I forget his name, and then like actually scanned the phone, took the blood and all
Josh.
that. Yeah, Josh. We didn't actually see him, but he just had that line of like, oh yeah, I just hired him, so I figure he just has enough money to hire those scientists. But I mean, you're right. They didn't specifically answer that part of it, I guess. But I don't know if I would need. I don't think I need that personally, but I get it.
I wouldn't say like a full episode of that, but just to kind of like wrap up some things again that I just felt was rushed in this, because I feel like this fourth wall breaking scene, like it was awesome, but it did take a huge chunk out of the episode. So that's my only issue with it. But anyways, I digress. With the fourth wall breaking scene, like it was hilarious. I enjoyed them making the jokes, and wasn't sure if we were going to get that Kevin reveal, but then seeing the machine was just outrageous, and it's just so witty, like you said, Travis. Just like a comedian just putting like all these like quick one-liners out there, just these responses and everything, and the dynamic back and forth with She-Hulk was great. So I enjoyed that. I definitely did. Yeah.
Well, let's take an ad break, and then we'll talk about. We got a barbecue, we got some new characters popping up, and we got some new jail time. So we got lots of things coming after this ad break. We'll be right back. And we're back. So let's start with what I want to talk about the most. As I mentioned in that scene, and I got some one-liners I want to shout out after again that they were rocking, but after that scene she said she wanted more Daredevil added, and this isn't even that big, but still I love that. Okay, didn't expect him to be in this finale. He pops up like when he's expecting their battle, like, oh sorry you missed it, and it's very fun. And Pug's like, are they doing something? And so she's like, oh, you don't even know. My whole thing is, now this is not like a big thing, but still, we talked about last week, oh, will she be in his show, vice versa, and it's like, oh, so far it's just a one-off. The fact that he met the family and he was at the cookout, now I'm starting to think otherwise, that, you know what, they might have more plans. I'm not saying you're getting the She-Hulk Daredevil show, but like the fact that they didn't need to do this, and the fact that they're continuing this thread, all they need was him to show up in that crime scene, be like, oh, sorry, I missed it. And that's it. The fact that he's hanging out with their mom and dad, they're talking about kids already. They're talking, and I know it's just jokes and stuff. He got to meet Bruce, which I wish we got to see Ruffalo and him have like a quick scene, because I was like, oh my God, Charlie Cox is meeting the Hulk right now. I could not believe this, but yeah, they're setting up New York, and again, they're talking about like, oh, that's a dangerous place. But I think we have more hope of this relationship carrying on in the future, even if it's just through crossovers, and it's still like, hey, they're a long-term relationship thing, whatever. I love that he was there, and again, just seeing Charlie Cox of being like Daredevil, he can be a happy character, he's a personal character. So Kirkland, did you think we were going to get him one more time? What did you think of his use here?
I did not, honestly. I didn't think we were gonna get him in the finale, and I like the way that it even just ended off in episode 8 of being like, okay, like they do have like great chemistry, and we are going to be seeing these two on screen again. When we see that, I'm not sure, but I know that when that happens, it's going to be fantastic. And I was like completely fine with that. And then this is just like, oh, okay, like they are actually going to be pretty close together. Then like they're gotta have a decent excuse to if they're not in the same project at any point, really. So like from where we've seen them, at least from like, you know, at the end of this episode, he's not really in New York, right? Because she did
He's there for a
2'd
whole week.
Oh, is it just a week? Okay.
Well, she said
wasn't
just a week,
sure.
but still, the last episode was just one more night. And now it's a whole week, so
Yeah.
they're hanging out together for a little longer now. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? And then New York, it's probably not that far of a flight. I don't know what the.
Where is she
flight is
again?
from.
Los
It's
Angeles,
Los
LA. Yeah,
LA to New
they
York.
can afford. Once they become Avengers, just like Eddie's saying, I do. You know, could he become in the Avengers stuff like that? It's not a realm of possibility. Daredevil's been on the team
Yeah.
before, so the second one they become Avengers, they got the Quinjet. They can be flying back
When
and
they
forth.
get the
no
X-wing too. or the,
yeah. Yeah.
So
Things
yeah,
are going to
no,
be looking dire, and then like a ship's going to come in with Hulk, She-Hulk, and Daredevil, and
their
I guess
kids.
Scar. Yeah,
man, what an
Just-
era of Marvel we're entering. This is awesome.
Just little Daredevils and She-Hulks running around kicking Kang's ass. I didn't
Yeah,
see this in the timeline. I thought Netflix still owned you.
But yeah, like just speaking on like the chemistry, I guess that they shared, it's absolutely fantastic. I wasn't able to share my thoughts on that last week, and yeah, no, it was so stellar. So to get that in here, that was definitely a cherry on top. And I love the way that she like made that request to get him into that. That definitely got a laugh out of me. It was just
Yeah.
all the jokes about smashing Matt Murdock. 'Cause
Oh,
I've
it's
just
so
seen
good.
so many memes like since last week, and they just like incorporated that into this week's episode. So it's awesome. Hope it continues like beyond this season, right?
Mhm.
And you know, it's weird, but like I like her objectifying Matt Murdock because we've had like a fucking 50, 60 decades worth of comic books of women being objectified by the main character. So yeah, like you said, Kurt, when she's like, "Oh, I smashed the fourth wall, the finale, and Matt Murdock," and she just like sticks her tongue on the camera. It's like it's so much fun, and everyone just likes it. I will ask you this, Kirklin. What Siakio says, do you think she all could appear in Echo? Because we know Daredevil's an Echo. I'm a personal no, because I think Echo's going to be a bit more on the serious side, but you never know. You do have to have her appear in other projects at some point and be not like super serious, but a bit more serious, because I imagine she's going to become an Avenger, even though Kevin the Robot said you're not going to be in a movie. And she's like, what? So but that's a lie.
I think he was
Kevin's
trolling
lying.
her.
I think he was trolling her. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like no, just because like whatever's going on with that show, like it's a lot to just take on the budget of what She-Hulk brings. Like she's not just like Jennifer Walters, and like maybe she could just appear as Jennifer Walters. Like there's no reason she couldn't. But I don't know. Like if there's going to be a lawyer there, I would imagine it would be a New York one. I don't know why she'd just be making a travel, but who knows? Maybe she's just visiting Matt Murdock, so maybe it could work there. But yeah, I don't think it would be in that show. But I am very excited to see just where she pops up next, especially if it's not her own series or movie, something like that. Just where she pops up in other people's main series, and just how she bounces off other Avenger type characters. I'm excited. Jennifer Walters, she's got great chemistry, so I can't wait to just throw her in, like you're just saying, like the next Avengers, and like what that roster is going to be like and how they hit it off, because obviously we all loved Infinity, like not Infinity War, just the Avengers, like the original Avengers.
We all did love Infinity
chemistry.
War, though.
We all
That's
did love
true.
Infinity War. That's true. It's not a false statement.
Dylan, same thing for you. Are we going to see her in Echo? And also, what do you think about Matt Murdock's little appearance here?
Yeah, I'm gonna say not Echo. Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to break down. You guys have kind of mentioned it all, but man, it just makes me so happy. My heart is just so warm whenever those scenes are. Just him and his like flannel, just sitting there. She's helping him get the meal, whatever it was. Like it's just so wholesome, especially because like, man, that show is so dark and serious. So to just have like these lighthearted moments with him is, I'm just eating it up, because I feel like when we get to his show, you might have those moments, especially if she's in there for a few episodes, but I think for the most part it's not going to be like this. So I'm just eating it up while I can. So it was great to see him again. I obviously did not expect him to be in the finale, and of course they did it in a very strange way that doesn't follow sense based on what we got last week in terms of the explanation.
He just drops from the sky in this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very much comic booky in that way, which for me totally works. So it was so good to see him again. Now he's I guess if you count separate episodes as different things, he's been in this, No Way Home, 2 episodes here. So there you go. It's amazing to see.
Taylor, same questions for you to round off the battle in Devil.
Definitely not going to be in Echo. I
yeah.
don't think. I don't think like it may make a little bit of sense, but the only tie-in really would be through Daredevil. But I just think you get the Luke Skywalker paradox where it just pulls the attention away from Echo, and we want to focus on her story. It's her name is the name of the show, so that's what the plot needs to be focused on. As far as seeing Charlie Cox back as Daredevil in this, I mean, this is literally my introduction to this Daredevil because I haven't watched any of the show with him, so I only know the positive, lighthearted Daredevil. I don't know a negative Charlie.
You get to
Cox,
see the shit he goes
There's
through
lighthearted
first.
moments in the show.
Yeah.
but it's not. Yeah, it's not most.
It's just like the show, just like he's a nice guy. Just there's like dark shit happening all the time. You know, like bad
Right.
stuff. He's losing people all the time and everything. You know, so
it
this is
looked
him
like
on
he
the
had
other side of it. You know, he's had that character development. He's a bit happier now.
Looked like he had a moment with Titania. There is he thinking like Titania, like because she was
She
like,
had a-
"Hey, Daredevil,"
she
and
was
he's
flirting
like,
with him.
"Hey."
Yeah,
They
she
did
was
not have
very-
a moment though.
He just gave up and then he
was
walked away.
one-sided.
Yeah, the whole like
There's
tap.
some.
Oh God, please no. That'll make me go against the Kevin machine putting those two together. You know, so. And then speaking of children, so we had a reveal. Obviously, this has been something that's been rumored for about I think over a year and a half. Like it's been rumored for a while. Me and Chris talked about some Marvel Alliance, and I think at one point the role was supposed to be a lot bigger. We got the reveal Scar. That's Hulk's son from Sakaar.
Yeah. Great name.
I think this for me is one of the weaker points where the whole joke of say it for a movie. You know what? I think you could have saved this for me because it was just so like I like that Matt made a jerk like jokes about like your family's getting really big, eh? Like something like that. But just him be like, this is my son, and he stepped aside. Scar walks in the frame, they cut, and that's it. Like I know we will learn more, but it felt very tacked on, and it almost is a way that I wish they would have done something in an end credit way of make it a bit more mysterious. It's just strange too. Like I hope we get a flashback of this meeting because just to be like, this is my son, and they walk by, and I can't remember who mentioned it about Scar being smaller. He actually I think is supposed to be smaller than Hulk. He did look a bit more small, but I think he is not supposed to be the same size. But Taylor, I think we've talked about some of these rumors before, but what do you think about the reveal of Scar being confirmed, like the Hulk officially is a dad now in the MCU?
Yeah, very interesting because I feel like we talked about this that it was gonna eventually come to this, like we would get him at some point just with the whole Sakaar storyline that unfolded and Thor Ragnarok and everything. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. Like the Hulk story has been that narrative, not in like his own film. Since we got the whole MCU thing, it's just been implemented throughout different other Marvel films just to get his story arc unraveling, and now here we are, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I have to rewatch that scene because just like first glance, I was like, "Fuck!" He looks like one of the orcs from World of Warcraft movie.
He
like,
did. He
blew
did.
my mind.
Oh, you're so right. Because I should place it. He looks like one of those fuckers. Oh yeah.
One of those fuckers.
Oh, the baby finds him in the river, whatever that whole origin was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. He had a weird
I've
haircut going
deleted
on.
that movie from my brain. I have no
Oh
idea.
yeah. What about you, Dylan? I think we had this semi-spoiled for you, like
Yeah,
early on.
unfortunately, someone spoiled it in our live chat. I think on episode 2. So
Yeah.
I don't. I guess I feel like I can't be objective on this one just because this whole season I was kind of just like, oh, that's gonna reveal at some point. So if you're in our live chat in the future, don't spoil things like that. That's not cool. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's fair. For
but-
future spoilers, yeah, I would not do that. Yeah.
Which I mean, it's like this is not necessarily confirmed. It is just a rumor, but still, it's like
Yes. Yeah.
for it to be exactly what this person spoiled kind of sucks. So I don't know. I guess it didn't really do much for me. I do hope we get. I mean, we will eventually get more in that movie, which I just feel like that movie's confirmed now because of the joke here. But once again, that is also not confirmed. Yeah, I guess I really don't have much to break down on this one. I don't even think we got a voice, right? So we don't have like a person cast in the role yet. So that would be something more to speculate on and talk about. But we'll have to do some speculation on that. That'll be a fun cast.
Ed
We could
Norton.
do that sometime. That would be
amazing.
We brought him back a Scar. Here we go. Yeah. Kirkland, any thoughts on the new youngling?
I mean, yeah, like it was crazy that I saw him on screen. I definitely didn't think that I was gonna get him, especially after she dropped that line of like, we can save that for the movie. And I was like, okay, that's completely fine, because it basically all but confirmed that he does have a son, like especially with just all the rumors and everything, with like without the spoilers, as Dylan was mentioning. But like when he just showed up at the party, it felt again like a little bit just too much there, and like that's where it seemed very similar to that chaotic moment before she just shattered like the fourth wall of him just like randomly showing up and like just quickly like, oh yeah, that's a car. It's like, oh yeah, okay, he was there. I brought my son. Okay, yeah, and then just like moves on from that. I in hindsight, I think it would have been better if we just waited to actually see him there. That being said, like he looked pretty damn good, honestly. So like visually, like they did really good with him. I haven't seen World of Warcraft, so I didn't get taken
Don't
to that thought. And like just all in all, it was like, okay, it's cool to see like another Hulk character and just how different the different Hulks can be, right? Like we already have, I mean, 4, including Todd, right? he was a Hulk for a moment there. But
Hulk King.
Yeah.
Hulk King.
Retcon now though. He never took the formula. So
Retcon. Yeah, that's right.
But now
The formula.
I do wonder though, and I feel like whether it's Red Hulk or something, because we did get those people in there, and the whole thing was he just didn't turn to Hulk. I still think there's a chance that her blood could be hanging around, and they might use that later on, because maybe Todd didn't use it, but hopefully in like a more like non-silly way, because that was like I didn't mind it, but I was like, yeah, I don't need this for the fight. I liked it for the joke now in retrospect, but I didn't need Todd to be. I did like when he's like, come on, I'm a Hulk, bro, and just like I had fun with it in the sense of it now being a joke, but the times like, but that needle could still be hanging around, that blood, unless they've confiscated, but still they could tie together for something, I feel. So
well, there's definitely like, I don't know, between this is a pretty good finale for her. Obviously, we'll see her again, though. But Hulk, obviously, we talked about him. There's a lot set up there. Blonsky as well. Like, there is a lot of Hulk things that are being set up, especially, the leader's coming back, too. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Something like Red Hulk, that just seems like a matter of time at this point.
Well, that's what you were just talking about. What I'll transition to is that's what I was liked about where you got some of the real show, you get this big fourth wall break, but then the ending was like, okay, setting up multiple things. So Emil, we glanced over this, but he was taking side jobs as like a public speaker just for anybody. He was hired on by intelligentsia as to speak as Abomination, so he's tricking obviously the FBI and everything, and he had found some way to turn back into Abomination without letting them know. So for this, he agreed to go back into jail for 10 years as he broke the law and yada yada yada. But then it ends with a portal. That was our end credit scene. So thank God, not another She-Hulk one. So I'll have to. I think that
no one picked Wong, and that is like the biggest miss of the year. Hey, because another post credit for him. That's
we dropped the bag on that one. All of us that none of us picked. We should have picked Wong. We knew he was.
Someone will
in the
pick him next year, and he won't show up once. Like,
no, they'll kill him. First
year.
project, they'll kill him. Like they'll kill him double time just to get us a negative. But they do a little portal. He's asking like, what's Commentage like? Is there Wi-Fi? All this fun stuff. But pretty much it's set up that this time Oblonsky, instead of serving the 10 years, to me was like, nah, F that. I don't want to do that. And now I think that this is actually how we get him in Thunderbolts. I do think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be on the run. They're going to capture him. And I think they just didn't want to show him the poster because of the show. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I took from it as, now, okay, you skirted jail. You lied to us again. You got to do this to help us out. So that's my theory. Do you think that's a good theory? You got something else cooking?
I do think that's a good theory. I mean, first of all, I did like that Wi-Fi joke. That's kind of a fun callback to the first Doctor Strange, where they have a joke about the Wi-Fi at Commentage. So,
and Blonsky's site didn't have Wi-Fi. Remember, you can never reach him because he had no the service there. So it's a big deal with these two. Yeah.
No, I think that's a very good theory, because other than that, like, what's going on with Commentage? We still don't know if Doctor Strange 3 is happening, even if it does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much he'll be bumping around Commentage anymore. He's on a different path. And of course, it'd be nice to see Wong in that, but I don't know if you'd get this like side plot in a movie. That would seem kind of strange. Maybe if there's a Wong TV show, which, I mean, I'd be down for that.
Wong and Abomination. Just that's the Fight Club show we've heard rumored as them just killing it there. Yeah.
I mean, no, that is something, truthfully. Like, that could be a thing too. But no, I think your theory seems to be the best one I would subscribe to right now for sure.
Or I'd love it if Abomination becomes like a sorcerer, and next time we see him, he's popping off with
That'd be
spells.
sick.
That'd
With
be
like a
ropes,
sling ring
too.
on his
Well,
fingers.
Yes, that's a big sling.
I mean, I
ring.
just America Chavez is there too, right?
Yep.
She's at Comertage right now training up. So
yeah.
we know she's going to be coming back and doing something. So I don't know. There is reason to go back there. The more I think about it now, even though everyone died, even like that bull dude that we wanted to see more of. But there's
Yeah.
a couple characters there that are popping off now.
But Wanda's dead right now, so they're all safe, right? She's never coming back, so we're all good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you think the sling ring into the future? Think Thunderbolt? Do you think something completely else? We could be completely off the. Yeah, maybe he's in Strange 3. Maybe he's another soul that just gets killed. The next time something else goes to Countertouch, she's like our sacrificial lamb. Maybe he's in the
I
Hulk
hope-
movie. Lots of
I hope
routes.
he's not sacrificial lamb. It's just so nice to have him back, and he was like prominent throughout this whole show, much more than I thought he was going to be, and that really makes me happy because now I feel like they got big plans for him, especially with this end credit scene of them just like going off to Comatage. Makes me feel good knowing that we're probably going to get a lot more content with them. And as
Were
much
you
as I
bummed
would-
at first when they said he was locked up for another 10 years? Were you like, oh,
I
you fucking
was,
kidding me?
because I thought like, but I mean, I took that as like, okay, that makes sense if they're gonna do the Thunderbolts kind of thing with him being locked up and have him serve time. But now I'm kind of curious how they're gonna tie that in, because if he is in Comatage, how's he gonna like eventually get with the Thunderbolts? I guess because I imagine like they can't really go like
I
diplomatic.
mean, they can kind of
not
teleport around the world at any time, can't they?
But like the government, like how are they going to
Yeah, how
go
do
there
they
and just
get
be
him?
like,
Yeah.
because they can't just stroll into Comatage and be like, Abomination, you're coming to help us fight, right?
I feel like Abomination is gonna like go off on his own for a little bit, like get some food, and then he's like, because Emil's making mistakes left and right and everything like that. But Super Mike is completely right. Wong is just basically a full-on criminal. Madison's a bad influence. Like, like why is he like? What does Blonsky have over Wong that he keeps breaking him out? And this one looks like for life now. So it's just, man, he is like. He is really
Yeah.
pushing against the
He's
American
going back to
government
that
right
well
now.
a lot, isn't he?
Yeah, he just does not trust them. He thinks Emil should be out there and free and stuff, and they've just lost a property, like a government property in Blonsky. But
Mhm.
My gosh.
yeah. Kirkland, where are you thinking Blonsky's gonna be next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally game for a a Wong and Blonsky matchup. I feel like that's just such a mix up that's just like, how can you not have a good time watching that? So I like just for especially like him just taking Abomination away. It's just like, yeah, what Superbad Mike's mentioned. It's just like, man, this guy's making some questionable moral decisions of just like, does not matter what the law is. He's Sorcerer Supreme. He can do whatever he wants. So, I would probably put my chips on your theory though, Travis, that like this is just how we get to the Thunderbolts, on like how they capture him. I feel like that's not the hard part. It's it's maybe getting him to join in, just because he seemed like he was on like a peaceful path, but then here he is just making money in criminal ways. So yeah.
Yeah.
Did Wong say what TV show he was indulging in when Blonsky called him out for it?
No, he just said he's in the middle of peak TV, so I don't know what he's watching now.
That's
so.
Bubs. You're all about peak TV, peak cinema. Let us know.
Well, wait,
Yeah.
what was he watching with Madison?
He was watching Sopranos, but I
Right.
thought
Maybe
they
it's
started
that.
something. Maybe I thought they started something else. Though,
They
with
did start
Madison.
something else.
Oh,
yeah,
was
like a
it?
new
Okay.
show.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
peak TV then. Yeah, he's bouncing all
Whatever
over the
he's,
place.
he's probably watching
on
Breaking Bad.
now.
Yeah, 100%.
exactly.
He knows what TV is.
Yeah,
like,
Daredevil's
I just
next
saw
for
this
him.
Yeah, I saw this guy in Andor. But yeah,
Andor.
so that Andor, Cassian Andor. Yeah, I just looked at my notes and I had shouted everything else. Yeah, maybe he moved on to The Wire. Yeah, that's another one of that era, stuff like that. Hoping he hits 6 feet under soon. But yeah, everything we talked about, lines, everything we shout out. So, you guys have anything to shout out before we give final thoughts and some of us give it a rating?
Sorry. When they were just at like that dude bro incel meeting, I just couldn't help but chuckle. Just some of like the little dialogue that, like, again, like with
Yes.
subtitles on, you like catch everything, and it's just like the most like what was the one when he's like describing how he doesn't like She-Hulk, and it's just like it's not limited to the gender. I would be saying the exact same thing if it was
Yeah.
if it was a male Hulk, and he was It's just
It's not because she's a
oh,
female. That's not it
yeah.
at all. Yeah.
All of those lines, it was just like, oh, this is perfect. Like they're totally just hitting like that type of demographic for, making the dude bros. So I was laughing hard in that entire sequence.
I loved Pug in that sequence too, and we haven't seen him in like a month
Yeah.
at this point. But I've really liked that character. I think he's funny. But I thought he was extra great in that sequence. That was good.
Nepotism, bro. Nepotism,
Makes me so mad. Yeah.
Yeah. Did she sleep with her boss? Yeah, and it pisses me off too.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in there. Yeah, that we've seen those comments and stuff like that. So I think they've had a fun time, and I hope everybody that is like that got pissed off watching these episodes. And they probably said they didn't, but they're going to complain about the show somehow of not watching it. I don't know, man.
My last note was just this little quirk that I really liked about the character, which is that when she was at her parents' place, which it was fun to see the parents again because they are also very fun. They're at dinner and they're just talking about stuff, and just whenever she gets like frustrated in those moments and she just like smacks her head on the table, just like in a defeatist sort of way. I just thought that was fun because I was watching the first episode again today because Tyler Briggs is at my house and he wanted to watch the first episode, and she does that like 2 or 3 times in that episode when she's frustrated or when she's like super hungover. She just kind of drops her head, smacks on the table, which is just, I just think it's a funny little quirk that she has as a character. It's little things like that, those little details that I think add a lot when it's a little consistent thing like that that's happening in the first and last episodes. Just something she does in those moments. So I want to shout that out. But that's my last note.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about Jennifer She-Hulk. It's like now when you think about her and she goes into other movies, you just have these defining features or little moments where like, okay, I know exactly what I'm getting.
Consistent too, the whole way through. Not like Miss Marvel, for example.
No, exactly. Let's see. Yeah, Superman Mike's completely right. Gonna be a lot of red eye thumbnails tomorrow, 100%. And then be like, Todd, he's not that. He's misunderstood and stuff like that. But yeah, that was She-Hulk. Taylor, did you have something?
I was just gonna throw in there. It was just I really did enjoy seeing Hulk and Abomination. Just I know they weren't like really fighting, but I was just like back in Incredible Hulk days, and I was just looking at like the size comparison.
Hulk shrunken a lot.
I was gonna say he really shrunk because like in Incredible Hulk, like he's still smaller than Abomination, but he's really tiny in this.
Yeah,
in this.
It grows with anger, right? Isn't that like an actual thing.
No, it's not. That was from the 2000.
He just gets bigger muscles.
No, like that was from the 2003 movie. They did
he
that.
gets, right? That's the
but not
as
usually
he's closer to like Bruce, he like shrinks in size.
Yes, that's what I take it as because it's like the two of them together. That's why he's a smaller Hulk. That's what I'm thinking and stuff like that. I like I said, I think World War Hulk or whenever that Hulk movie's coming, I think somehow Hulk's gonna go back to Savage Hulk. I think now. Before I think you got a couple more appearances, but now with this show, I think eventually you'll not run out of things for Professor Hulk to do, but just like, okay, we've hit our cap, and I think people are going to be wanting that Hulk back and stuff like that, especially if they can do their own movie. I think that's the big thing now. It's like before when you couldn't say, oh, this is a fun side thing to do, but now if you could do, hey, a Hulk standalone movie, well, let's get them back this way, so Taylorfield, I'll start with you because I'm not sure where you are on it, but I imagine you might be the lowest on the show. But your final thoughts and what would you give it as an overall rating if you want to throw one on there?
So overall, my thoughts are, again, pretty dang positive on this series. I think it caught me by surprise, and it did a lot of things that were really, really enjoyable and like rewatchable. This is a show that I'm going to definitely put back on and just indulge in because there was so much fun, different random story arcs to enjoy with really weird, wacky characters and other like superpowered villains, I guess, and heroes like Leapfrog and the Immortal Man and all that, or Mr. Immortal. So I'm very hyped on all that kind of stuff. And again, just some of the character developments that we did get with our main characters and just the backstory and stuff. And again, getting to be introduced to Charlie Cox's Daredevil here was always fantastic. So I like all that, and while I did have certain issues with the way this finale was, that's definitely probably like the lowest part overall. I still think that they still hit a lot of home runs with certain elements of that finale. And just closing out with the whole show, 9 episodes, I'd probably give it like a 8 out of 10. It's definitely not like the solid 10 out of 10 for me, but it's still up there. Like I said, I'll rewatch it. I have to finish it off with Madison. because I know she needs to watch it
With a
through.
Y.
But yeah, it's a good show, and I'll be recommending it to people because it's a pleasant surprise. I think people need to give it a try, and don't just like watch a trailer and assume you know everything about it, because I think it'll catch you really off guard with how humorous it is and unexpected. So yeah, good show.
Dylan, your final thoughts. Also, we're gonna rank this in the December once we get the Xmas special. But overall, these 9 episodes, how you feeling after the journey?
Oh, feeling great. Yeah, I was a little bit down on, I guess, what was it? It was 6 and 7. But
Yeah.
even those weren't like, they weren't like bad MCU
Mhm.
content. They were just like the lows of the series for me. But overall, this is amazing. This very well could be my favorite Disney Plus show. Now it's hard to say that just because it is so different from the other ones in terms of the style and stuff like that. But man, I just loved this show so much, and I don't know, not many shows that I'd stay up to midnight for 9 weeks in a row to watch. So this one was, I'm definitely was happy to do that for each one. I think what Taylor said too, like this is just rewatchable. Like I've already watched most of the season twice because Muds wanted to watch it the next day, and now I've been watching the first episode again with Tyler last week. I put last week's episode on a couple more times, just like because it's so just, I don't know, just great thing to have on in the background kind of thing. So, man, I really love the show. I'm very excited to rank it when I have a bit more distance from it. But overall, just amazing.
2 things. Eddie is loving your Venom poster there, Kirkland. So there
Yeah.
you go. You had to kill man to get that. And then
I did.
second of all, Seattle Chaos says, I don't know if the finale will hold up in 5 years because all the meta stuff is so current. See, I'm the reverse where to me it's always going to hold up because it's about this era of Marvel. You know, like the next 6-10 shows could be all killer finales. These issues that always pop up in MCU shows could be gone. But it's like in that first run of from WandaVision till now, that was an era. So that's why for me they'll always hold up because it's kind of joking about that specific thing. So the man with the Venom poster,
Yeah.
where are you?
That's me. I'm pretty damn high. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. I really really like the show through and through, true and true, whatever the adage is.
True.
Yeah, no, I had such a good time. Like even like the retreat episode, like that was I was loving all of that, all the different characters that we had in there. Very much hitting my funny bone throughout the entire series. Like I'm pleasantly surprised that the vast majority of the humor really did hit for me. I feel like that might be like a determining factor. It's like if you're really not jiving with like what the humor is, you probably won't enjoy what the show is overall. But yeah, just such an original take on like a finale, and just interesting to see how they could top it with like her next appearance. I don't know if probably would get like another series, but she's definitely like just gonna be coming for the big screen eventually. I would imagine, despite what Kevin the robot says.
He'll change his mind after he sees the reception. Once he sees the internet loves this, he'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's kind of like the Doctor Strange thing. Like he sees all these universes. He can't tell you the exact solution, but he can allude to it. I feel like Kevin, you know, he can't tell her that she's in the movie, even though he already knows about it too.
Exactly.
Yeah, so overall it was a great time, and yeah, it's just great like debut appearance for Tatiana. Is that her name?
Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah, she's
all the way
couldn't
back to
nail it.
episode
You're right
1.
at the end, Kirklin. You couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's fantastic. I found out I mean, we probably talked about her, but she's from Regina. That blew my mind when I saw that. There you go.
Good for her.
Oh, Canada. Did you drop
Good
a
for
number on
her.
this, or you waiting
9
on
out of
that?
10. I opened up
Okay,
with
sorry.
it. Yeah. You were looking at your phone. I saw your eyes.
It's 1:30. It's 1:30 a.m. You know, so I'm looking at notes. Yeah, I'm right where Kirkland is. I'm a 9 out of 10. Maybe it could go up after some time, but I feel pretty solid on this one. That I don't think so. I think a 9. If anything, it would go down, but I don't think it will be. I think like Dylan, there were some episodes in the middle, portion that's like just fine. They weren't like bad, but they're just fine. But the highlights of the show, I think the premiere and maybe episode 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there, but definitely the premiere, definitely episode 8, which I think might just still be my favorite Disney Plus show, like just episode of all, even more than Loki finale, because they just nailed what I wanted from Daredevil in this. And yeah, I love Dark Daredevil, but there's different versions. I love the chemistry and everything. And then they just took a big swung And to me, they hit a home run, and it's something that could have came off as too gimmicky, but I thought it felt completely natural. It's one of those MCU moments that I think if we do another top 10 scenes, that's probably going to be in there, because it's always going to be memorable. It's always going to be one of those scenes when you think of the MCU, you're like, man, remember when they did that scene where she went to Kevin Feige's office? Like it was just such a great meme machine in a perfect way. Felt it was a good conclusion on the characters. Please give me more. Give me more Jen and Matt. I love that we're hinting towards it. I'm happy about that future. So yeah, a 9 out of 10. I'll be excited to rank it, but it's definitely in the upper portion. I don't know where it's a top 5, top 10. Even now that we have 30, by the time we rank this, I think we'll have 40 projects. So I definitely think it's in the, because we got this. I think this is 37. Let me just check my letterbox here. But I think
right.
that's what I was looking at, Kirkland. If you want to know what I was looking at, no, we have 38. So we got Wakanda, and then we got Guardian. So we will have 40 things to rank come time December. So, and that it's definitely, as a mini spoiler, I'll say at least it's in the upper 20. So there you go. There's my tease for December. But thank you to everyone in the chat. It was popping off. Thank you for everything. If it's your first time with us, we're doing this all the time. We'll be back for Wakanda. We're doing Andor. We're doing Rings of Power, even though that's ending House of Dragon. And next year we'll be in Secret Invasion, eventually Daredevil. So we'll be here for all that. So thank you everyone there. Thank you everyone that's listening after or watching after. Very much appreciate it. And we promise when you hear from us next, not be boring.
Bye.